I bullied a girl in high school and abused my boyfriend, then broke up with him for supporting that girl instead of apologizing. My boyfriend is dating that unattractive girl. She stole my boyfriend. I'm not sure how to even frame this without sounding unhinged, but I'll try to keep it straight. I'm 24 now. The guy is 25. The girl I'm talking about is around the same age. Back in school, I was the type of person people gravitated towards without really questioning why. I wasn't particularly kind, not especially smart, but I knew how to hold attention. I lent into that hard. Attention felt like oxygen back then. There was this one girl in our grade, quiet, awkward, always sitting slightly off to the side like she didn't belong anywhere. Bad skin, clothes that never quite fit right, hair that always looked like she'd given up halfway through brushing it. The kind of person people pretend not to see unless they're making a joke at her expense. I didn't just go along with that, I pushed it. I knew exactly how far I could go before people would laugh instead of calling me out, and I stayed right on that edge. Comments in class, small digs, making sure she heard just enough to know it was about her. I remember the way she would go stiff and stare down at her desk like, if she didn't react, it wouldn't be real. There are flashes that come back now without warning. Her hands were tightening around her pen, someone snickering behind me. That weird, hollow feeling in my chest that I used to mistake for power. At the time, I justified it by telling myself everyone else already treated her like that. I was just louder. The only person who consistently pushed back on me was my boyfriend. He was steady. That's the word I keep coming back to. He didn't get pulled into that high school social nonsense. He'd call me out, not in a dramatic way, just very direct. I remember him once saying, "You don't even know her. Why are you doing this?" I snapped at him so hard that day. Accused him of having some kind of savior complex. Twisted it into something ugly, like he must be attracted to her if he cared that much. I said things I wouldn't repeat now. He didn't yell, he just looked tired. That look comes back to me sometimes too. We stayed together anyway. For years, actually. Through the end of school, into early adulthood, I moved in with him as soon as I could get out of my family situation. I was convinced that being with him full-time would fix everything that felt wrong inside me. It didn't. The same anger, the same restlessness, the same need to push and provoke, it all came with me. Except now, he was the one closest to me, so he got most of it. I'd pick fights over nothing, accuse him of things that didn't make sense even as I said them. There were nights where he'd try to talk me down, and I'd just escalate until everything blew up. There's a moment burned into my head. Him sitting on the edge of the bed, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor while I paced around the room talking over him. I don't even remember what I was mad about. I just remember the way he said my name, quietly, like he was asking me to stop. I didn't. Eventually, he did. He sat me down one day and told me he was done. He said he cared about me, but he couldn't keep living like that, and he couldn't keep watching me refuse to get help. He asked me not to contact him again, and that was it. I wish I could say I handled that like a normal person. I didn't. I spiraled hard, ended up couch surfing for a while. There's this specific memory of lying awake on someone else's couch, feeling like my entire life had collapsed into something unrecognizable. That's what finally pushed me to get help. Therapy, diagnosis, medication. It wasn't instant, but it was real. Things started to feel quieter. Like my thoughts weren't constantly trying to tear me apart. I learned how to sit with things instead of detonating them. Over time, I built something stable. Not perfect, but stable. But I never really let go of him. I didn't contact him. I stuck to that. But he stayed in the back of my mind like something unfinished. A few weeks ago, I looked him up. I don't even know what I was expecting. Maybe just confirmation that he was doing okay. He is. He has a girlfriend. That part didn't shock me. He's the kind of person people want to be with. What did shock me was who she is. It's her. The girl from school. I stared at her photos for a long time trying to convince myself I was wrong, but it's definitely her. Same eyes. Same smile. Just everything else is different. She's lost the weight. Her skin is clear. Her hair is thick and styled in a way that actually suits her. She looks confident, comfortable in her own body in a way I don't think I've ever been. And she looks happy. There are pictures of them together at events and on trips, even stupid little candid shots where they're both laughing like nothing in the world is wrong. There's one where they're in matching outfits at some convention, and he's looking at her in this soft, unguarded way that I don't think I ever saw directed at me. That's the part that hit the hardest. Meanwhile, I've been noticing things about myself that I can't ignore anymore. My hair has been thinning. I see it in photos and in the mirror under certain lighting. My face looks sharper in a way that doesn't feel healthy. I don't get the same attention I used to, and I hate that I still notice that. It feels like some kind of twisted reversal. The person I tore down built herself into someone solid and happy. And I'm here picking apart my reflection, wondering when exactly I started looking like this. Since finding out, I haven't been able to stop thinking about them. I scroll through their profiles more than I should. I analyze timestamps and locations, trying to piece together when they met and how it happened. There's this constant intrusive thought that maybe he always saw something in her that I refused to see. Or worse, that he became the version of himself with her that I never allowed him to be. I've caught myself thinking about running into them by accident, imagining what I'd say, how I'd present myself, whether he'd look at me and see the person I am now instead of who I was then. And underneath all of that is this persistent, uncomfortable truth. I want another chance with him. Not in a vague, nostalgic way. I mean actively. I keep thinking about breaking the no contact, just to remind him that I exist, to show him I'm not that person anymore. But every time I get close to doing it, I remember the way he said he was done, the clarity in it, and I hesitate. What makes this worse is that part of me still feels resentful. Not just towards him, but towards her. I hate admitting that. It's ugly, but it's there. This irrational sense that she stepped into a life that used to be mine, that she gets the version of him I always wanted but couldn't hold on to. At the same time, there are moments where I remember her sitting in that classroom, shoulders hunched, trying to disappear while I made sure she couldn't, and it makes me feel sick. I don't know what to do with all of this. I've worked hard to get to a better place, and this feels like it's dragging me back into something I thought I'd outgrown. The obsessive thinking, the emotional swings, the urge to act on impulse. I don't know if reaching out to him would be closure or just another mistake. I don't know if what I'm feeling is genuine regret or just jealousy that she ended up with something good. I don't know if wanting another chance is even remotely fair to him, to her, or even to myself. All I know is that I can't seem to let this go, and it's starting to feel like I'm slipping back into a version of myself I really don't want to be again. So I guess what I'm asking is the following. Do I leave this alone completely and accept that I lost him for a reason? Or is there any situation where reaching out, carefully, respectfully, would make sense? Because right now, it feels like I'm standing on the edge of doing something I might regret, and I can't tell if stepping back is growth or just fear. People have a lot of opinions. One said, I actually think there are two different things happening here, and you're blending them together. One is grief. You never really processed the relationship ending because you were in survival mode. Now that your life is stable, your brain is circling back like, hey, what about this? That part is normal. The second part is where it gets tricky, the hyperfocus. You mentioned ADHD, and yeah, this fits. It's not just hobbies. People can absolutely become the fixation, especially when there's unresolved emotion plus new data, finding their profiles, seeing their life now, etc. So your brain basically latched onto this and is now running analysis loops nonstop. Timelines, comparisons, what ifs. That doesn't mean the conclusions you're reaching are meaningful or actionable. Wanting to contact him is part of that loop. It feels urgent and important, but it's not. You've actually done the hardest part already by not reaching out. I'd treat this like any other unhealthy fixation. Reduce exposure, stop checking their profiles, interrupt the thought loops, and yeah, try to get in with your therapist sooner if you can. Another person said, I'm probably going to get downvoted for this, but I don't think you're some villain for feeling the way you do. Messy. Yeah, uncomfortable. Definitely. But human. You didn't just randomly decide to obsess over your ex. You found out he's with someone tied to a really loaded part of your past. Of course, that's going to hit harder than just seeing him with a stranger. That's not you being evil. That's your brain trying to process something that feels weirdly personal. And honestly, people are being a bit harsh, acting like you're one step away from ruining their lives. You haven't contacted him. You stopped yourself multiple times. That actually matters. Wanting another chance doesn't automatically make you selfish either. You've changed, you've done the work, and it's not crazy to wonder, what if he saw me now? Just don't act on impulse, sit with it, process it. But don't beat yourself up like you're back to square one, because you're clearly not. While another person said, no, I'm sorry, but this whole thing reads like you're still centering yourself in a situation where you don't belong anymore. You say you've grown, but the second you see him happy, with someone you used to treat like shit, by your own admission, your first instinct is anger at her and fantasies about inserting yourself back into his life. That's not just messy feelings. That's the same entitlement with better vocabulary. You don't get to feel betrayed. You don't get to wonder if they're doing this at you. They're living their lives. You're the only one making this about you. And let's be real. Wanting another chance isn't about love. It's about seeing something you lost, realizing someone else has it, and suddenly deciding you deserve it back now that you've improved. That's not how consequences work. Also, the irony here is brutal. The girl you helped tear down built herself up and found happiness, and instead of fully owning that, you're spiraling because she ended up with the guy you hurt. Leave them alone, not just physically, mentally too, because right now, this isn't healing. It's you rewriting the past in a way that still puts you at the center of everything. Continuation? I don't think I'm okay. This got worse, a lot worse. I read through everything people said to me last time, and I don't even know what I expected. Maybe some balance. Maybe someone understanding what this actually feels like instead of immediately jumping to calling me obsessive or dangerous or whatever. Instead, it was just judgment, like a wall of people acting like they've never had a single irrational thought in their lives. Like I'm some kind of case study instead of a person. And yeah, I know what I did back then was wrong. I've said that. I've worked on that. But some of you are acting like she was this perfect innocent person and I was just evil for no reason. She wasn't. I'm not saying she deserved everything, but the way she acted back then, the way she carried herself, how she inserted herself into things, how she made everything awkward. People didn't just randomly decide to treat her that way. I wasn't the only one. I was just the one who didn't pretend. And honestly, with everything going on in my life back then, I don't think people understand how easy it is to latch onto someone like that and just let it out. But whatever. That's not even the point anymore. Things have got worse since I posted. I tried to do what some of you said, distract myself, improve myself, move forward, and I don't even recognize myself now. I changed my hair. It sounds stupid, but it felt like something I could control. I went shorter, styled it differently, and tried to go for something more put together, more like, I don't even know, her maybe. Not consciously at first, but I can see it now. And I hate it. Every time I look in the mirror, it feels wrong. My hair looks thinner now, like I made it worse somehow. It doesn't sit right. It doesn't feel like me. I keep adjusting it, trying to fix it, and nothing works. It's like I tried to turn into someone else and ended up making myself look worse. And that feeling just keeps bleeding into everything else. I tried going on a date too, just to prove to myself I could move on. It was awful, not because the guy was bad, he was fine, normal. But the entire time I was just comparing. The way he talked, the way he reacted, even the way he sat across from me. It all felt off. At one point he made some joke, and I almost said, he used to, and I caught myself, but he noticed. He asked if I was still hung up on someone. I said no. He didn't believe me. I left early, and I was so irritated, but not even at him, just at everything, at how forced it all felt. And then I did something I probably shouldn't have done. I reached out to her. I told myself it was about closure, that I owed her an apology anyway. That maybe if I cleared that part of my past, everything else would settle down. I spent hours writing that message. I kept it calm and direct. I apologized for how I treated her. I said I've changed, that I'm not that person anymore. I didn't even mention him at first. She took a day to respond. And when she did, I don't even know how to describe it properly. It wasn't angry. That would have been easier. It was calm, controlled, like she was talking to someone beneath her. She said she appreciated the apology, but that it didn't change anything for her. That she's moved on and built a life she's happy with. That she doesn't think revisiting the past is productive. And then she added, very casually, that she knows why I'm reaching out. That part hit, I replied, asking what she meant. She didn't answer right away, but when she did, she said something along the lines of, you don't need closure from me, you need to accept that some doors are closed. And then she told me not to contact her again. I asked if I could at least talk to him, just once, just to clear things up. She said no. Not, I'll ask him. Not maybe, just no. Like she had the authority to decide that. That's what really got to me. Who is she to gatekeep that? He's his own person. If I reach out, that's between me and him. But the way she said it, like she already knew what his answer would be, like I wasn't even worth asking, it made me feel small. Smaller than I've felt in a long time. And yeah, I know people are going to say, those are consequences or whatever, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like she was looking down on me. Like she's won something. And I hate that I even think like that, but I do. After that, I checked their profiles again. I know I shouldn't have, but I did. There was a new post, just something normal, them at a grocery store laughing about something stupid. Nothing special. But it hit harder than anything else, because it wasn't perfect, it wasn't curated, it was just easy. And I started thinking about all the times he tried to have that kind of normal, easy moment with me, and I shut it down, dismissed it, turned it into something else. And now that version of him just exists, with her. There was also something else I found that I can't stop thinking about. I went back far enough and found traces of his interests, stuff he never really showed me, things she's clearly into now too. And I can't shake this feeling that I didn't actually know him the way I thought I did, like he gave her parts of himself that I never got. And I keep going back to this thought, did he become that person because of her? Or was he always like that, and I just never created a space where he could be it? I don't like the answer to either option, because one means I lost something, and the other means I never really had it. I feel worse now than I did when I first posted. Way worse. Before, it was just curiosity and some jealousy. Now it feels like everything is tangled together. Regret, anger, insecurity, and this constant nagging urge to do something even though I know I probably shouldn't. And the worst part, a part of me doesn't even want him back anymore. I just don't want her to have him. I know how that sounds. I don't need anyone to tell me. But I can't turn that thought off. I don't know what that says about me, and honestly, I'm not sure I want to know. Continuation. I don't even know where to start because everything feels tangled again, but in a different way than before. Not just anger this time, something heavier, like I'm watching myself from the outside and still not stopping. After my last post and the responses, I was pissed. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. It felt like people reduced me to the worst version of myself and decided that's all I am. So I did something stupid, but at the time it didn't feel stupid. I decided I needed to remind myself, and honestly, maybe prove that I'm still better. Or at least that I can be. I went out, not randomly. I picked a place where I knew I'd get attention. Got dressed up, spent way too long trying to fix my hair, which still looks wrong no matter what I do, and did my makeup properly, the whole thing. And it worked. People noticed me. Guys approached me. I got compliments, the kind I used to get all the time without thinking about it. But it felt empty, like I was watching it happen instead of feeling it. Every conversation felt surface level, like I was playing a role I already knew how to play. I kept comparing it to those stupid, candid pictures of them just existing together, and it made everything I was doing feel fake. At one point, I caught my reflection in a mirror, and I genuinely didn't recognize myself for a second. Not in a dramatic way, just disconnected. Like I was trying to rebuild something that doesn't exist anymore, and that's when it started shifting. Because I realized something that I haven't been able to shake since. I don't know how to be liked unless I'm impressive. Not easy, not comfortable, not someone people just want to be around. I know how to perform. That's it. And she doesn't seem like she's performing at all. That thought has been eating at me. A few days after that, I ended up talking to someone from school. It wasn't planned, just ran into them, and they recognized me. At first it was normal, catching up, basic stuff. But then they said something that stuck with me. They laughed and said, "You've mellowed out a lot, you used to be kinda scary." Not joking, not mean, just factual. And I didn't know how to respond to that, because in my head, I wasn't scary, I was confident, outspoken, in control. But hearing it like that, so casually, made me realize that maybe people didn't see me the way I thought they did. And instead of fully accepting that, I just felt defensive, like they were simplifying me into something I've already tried to move past. Then I made another mistake. I reached out to him. I know. I said I wouldn't. I know what he asked. I know what everyone said, but I couldn't let it go. I didn't send something emotional this time. I didn't beg or apologize like before. I kept it, controlled. I told him I've changed, that I've done the work, that I'm not the person he remembers. I said I understood why things ended, but that if he ever cared about me at all, he should at least acknowledge that I'm different now. And yeah, I said it, that I think I could be better for him now than I was before. That may be even better than what he has. I didn't say it aggressively. I tried to frame it calmly and rationally. He didn't reply. Not even a, "Please don't contact me again." Nothing, just silence. And somehow, that felt worse than anything else. Because at least before, there was a clear boundary. Now it just feels like I don't even register. Like I'm not worth the effort of shutting down. I checked again after that. I know I shouldn't have. There was a new picture. Just something simple. They were sitting on a couch, she was leaning into him, and he looked so relaxed. Not careful. Not guarded. And I I really tried to remember a moment where he looked like that with me. I went through old photos, messages, everything. I found smiles. I found good moments. But there was always something else mixed in. Tension, chaos, me pushing, him pulling back. I can't find a single memory where it looked that easy. And that's messing with me more than anything else. Because now I don't know if I ever actually had what I thought I had. And instead of letting that go, I keep doing this thing where I look for flaws in her. It's stupid, but I do. The way she stands, sometimes, a little awkward. The fact that she's still into those same niche interests, the way she dresses in some pictures. I pick at those details like they mean something. Like if I can prove she's not perfect, it somehow balances things out again. But it doesn't. It just makes me feel worse. Because even with those things, she's still the one he's with, not me. And I think the worst realization I've had through all of this is this. I don't think I'm actually competing with her. I think I'm competing with a version of myself that never really existed. The version that was stable, kind, easy to love. The version I keep telling myself I could have been back then. But I wasn't. And now I'm trying to prove that I can be that person now, like it changes what already happened. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to stop comparing, or stop needing to be seen as better, or stop feeling like I need to win something that isn't even a competition anymore. I just know that everything I've tried so far, improving myself, reaching out, distracting myself, has only made it worse. I need a change. Not the kind where I just adjust something on the surface and pretend it's progress, something real. Because whatever this is right now, I don't want to stay like this. Analysis. What makes this situation uncomfortable isn't just the jealousy or regret. Those are expected. It's the structure of how her mind is trying to rebuild control. She's not actually chasing the ex, she's chasing a version of reality where she was never the problem. That's why every attempt at self-improvement feels hollow to her. Because it's not rooted in identity, it's rooted in comparison. She didn't change her hair because she liked it. She changed it because she subconsciously assigned meaning to someone else's transformation and tried to replicate the outcome without understanding the process. That's not growth. That's mimicry under pressure. Her obsession with the girlfriend isn't really about attractiveness or even the relationship, it's about emotional accessibility. She's realizing in real time that she doesn't know how to be someone people feel safe around. That's why the social outing failed. She can still attract attention, she hasn't lost that. But attention isn't the same as ease, and ease is what she's seeing in those mundane moments between them. That's what's destabilizing her. Because you can't fake ease. You can perform confidently, you can perform charm. You can even perform vulnerability to an extent. But you can't perform being low risk for love. That comes from internal regulation, not external validation, and the silence from the ex. That's not cruelty, that's actually the clearest message in the entire story. He's not engaging because engagement is what her old dynamic thrived on. Push, react, escalate, and repeat. By not responding, he's refusing to re-enter that system entirely. What's more interesting is how she interprets that silence as erasure instead of a boundary. That tells you everything about how she defines worth. If she's not being reacted to, she feels like she doesn't exist. That's not about him. That's a fragile sense of self that depends on impact. The most revealing line in all of this isn't the jealousy. It's when she admits she doesn't even want him back. She just doesn't want her to have him. That's not love. That's positional thinking, like relationships are proof of status. And ironically, that mindset is exactly why she lost him in the first place. The girlfriend didn't win because she became prettier. She won because she stopped being in a volatile environment. And here's the uncomfortable takeaway for anyone reading this. You can fix your appearance. You can fix your habits. You can even fix your mental health on paper. But if your internal framework is still built on comparison, control, and needing to be chosen over someone else, you haven't actually changed the thing that matters. You've just upgraded the packaging. That's why she feels worse now. Because for the first time, the outside improvements aren't enough to hide what's underneath.